And happy Tuesday. Welcome to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. Ida hit over the weekend. A lot of, we're still hitting over 900,000 people without power in that Louisiana, in that New Orleans area primarily.
Yeah, they from the weather yesterday and from the news yesterday that I saw in all reports, it looks like that power is going to be out well into a week. They had major power towers go down. It even fell into the Mississippi River. So they're not looking to be able to restore power. Minimum 4 days, they said, just to assess the damage, but may well go on into a week. They were talking about how hospitals have generator power and have fuel and everything necessary to get things done. But right now, it looks like it's going to be at least a week before they're able to restore power to most people.
Yeah, Jefferson Parish, think about that. 400,000 folks that may be without power for up to 21 days is what they're reporting on that. So pretty significant as we talk about this. Slidell, Louisiana, not sure if you read that in the news or not. There was a person in Slidell, hit very hard. Slidell was attacked by an alligator swimming in those waters, the flooded waters. Alligator attacked the gentleman, lived. But drive safe, Dave, those are just some of them dangers that happen when these floods, especially down there in that south where there are alligators, right?
Yeah. So you see these people walking in waters, right? Moving between cars, trying to rescue. And now you got to worry about alligators and snakes in the swamp because the swamp's flooded.
Oh, it's a swamp too. We've seen those shows, right? I mean, we've watched them on TV, the alligator hunters. Those,
I'm out.
I'm out. That's what I think about when I see them walking. It's different here, in Texas and Dallas. If your street's flooded, you're walking, you're not getting attacked by anything. There, it's a whole different animal, and it's for real though. And listen, our hearts go out to you out there, and boy, we got to find ways that. FEMA, we're still a little way. We have to go in and get the power going. FEMA is going to step in at some point. They've already stepped in, let's face it, but the truckloads of water, the truckloads of food are eventually going to start hitting as we kind of figure out what's going on. Right?
Yeah,
what are the next steps?
From what I understood yesterday, not all the roads are even clear yet. They still have roads well underwater. They still have roads well deep, but they can't even get some of the supplies and some of the trucks in just yet until they get the roads and debris. There's still a lot going on. I know that emergency service personnel were out yesterday cutting trees, clearing roadways, but I don't even think the roadways are open yet.
Yeah, America's longest war, drive safe, comes to an end. What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? It is, as always, these long wars that we are engaged in, whether it be Nam or whether it be Afghanistan, we're pulling out. I feel like we didn't really succeed in the mission that we went there to do and fulfill the, I guess what we would call the democratic dream in the region. And once again, the people that we pushed out when we went in have taken back over.
Yeah, 100 to 200 Americans still being left behind. We do know that count, but tens of thousands of some of our allies being left behind in Afghanistan. Drive safe, Dave. Those are the issues as we pull out. Those are the ones that your hearts really go out to right now is my God, what are they going to do? How are they, they are being hunted, drive safe, Dave.
Yeah, they are being hunted. And you know what? They're going to be used as a tool against us for leverage. I mean, that is the biggest fear right now. They're going to be used as a leveraging tool to get what they want, to set whatever price they want, or to say whatever they want. So right now we fear for their lives, and we've got to figure out a way to get them out of there and to make it safe for them as well.
Yeah, hey, drive safe, Dave. Some things that you and I were talking about before the show started. We were talking about the levees, right? And the successes that occurred from this hurricane right here. We see it in that there wasn't as much flooding as there was back in Katrina. And there are some successes that we take back from the infrastructure, the amount of money that went in to protect us here, to protect this country, or to protect Louisiana from that.
Yeah, the United States Corps of Engineers went in and reinforced, rebuilt, and in some places redid completely redid completely the levees in there with the United States Corps of Engineers and made it better, made it brand new basically, and built it up so that it was there.
Yeah, the infrastructure. Let me tell you something. I take some comparisons and I make it to what happened in Louisiana with the levees, and I make it to the bridges, to the highway systems that we have right now. This hurricane, Hurricane Ida, was much more powerful than Katrina. We saw what happened with Katrina, right? And I make the comparison to the highway systems today to Katrina. Katrina, our highway systems are much like Katrina's was. The levees were. They're not sound. They're not safe. We saw it in Memphis, right? We saw it in St. Paul, Minnesota. What happened in Louisiana, pre-Ida was devastating. The successes from Ida, the money that went into to repair that infrastructure, make the levees safer, it really did prove out during this. And Drive Safe Dave, this infrastructure, we've been talking about it for years. When are we really going to go in there and invest in these bridges, invest in this aged highway system? Do we wait until it's too late? Do we wait for another Memphis? Dang gum at Drive Safe Dave, do we repair the infrastructure? Do we take it serious when we have one more Minneapolis?
Yeah, no, I tell you what, I looked at, and you can look at the pictures that we had from downtown New Orleans, not just the levees, Sir Rick. You look at the pumping system that was rebuilt and redesigned, and you could see Louisiana, you could see Bourbon Street, you could see downtown New Orleans, you could see they did not have deep water nowhere out because the pumping system was working, and that was the infrastructure you're talking about, behind the scenes working, that underground stuff, that stuff that you take for granted. And that's what we're talking about, underground, that base under these roads that have been neglected for years. I mean, and a road's only as strong as its base, and it's not just the roads. You talk about bridges, you talk about all kinds of everything, parking lots, parking for on-ramps, access ramps, state highways, roadways, everything that goes into effect. You're talking about the infrastructure that needs much money and needs much attention.
Yeah, we've got to spend the money. We've got to spend the time. We've got to repair these bridges. And everybody wants to talk about platooning, getting more trucks on the highway. And let's face it, if in fact we deal with these autonomous trucks, there's going to be more trucks on the road. Why is that? Well, because there's a driver shortage right now. So if you believe there's a driver shortage and you fill it up with autonomous vehicles, hey, guess what? There should be, in theory, more trucks on the road. How can these bridges handle more trucks on the road when we're seeing an aged infrastructure, an aged bridging system? How can we platoon on these bridges that can't carry that much weight, Drive Safe Dave? Do we once again wait until it's too late? Or are we going to really go out there, put that infrastructure in, get these highways fixed up, get them ready for real transportation? We see it in Oklahoma. You talked about the old dreaded 69, right?
Ooh.
You love that highway?
No. No, I don't. That's the bumpiest road. One of the bumpiest highways I know. You cannot sleep in the sleeper. That is not a team highway, I can tell you that. Or you're just bouncing back.
You know what it's not too, and we're going to kind of go into, we have a special guest today, but the distractions. When you're on 69, when you're on some of these highways, there's no time, there's no place for you to have any distractions going on. You can't be on that phone. You can't be watching TV. You cannot even be watching BCB Live while you're driving.
What?
Let me tell you something. That goes against what we're doing. It's about safety. The BCBs are being safe and putting safety above everything. Drive Safe Dave. We start the new year every year taking a pledge, right? I'm gonna lose weight this year. I'm going to the gym, baby. Yeah. Wait till you see these guns in a year from now. We start it every year, and we struggle as people to comply with it.
Yeah, the commitment to continue on and to make that life-changing event. I'll tell you, it's hard, and it's not just that, but there are many things that I believe that we need to do, and we need to make some commitment. And I'll tell you, our commitment to safety, I don't think our pledge has gone on in solid here, and the commitment to safety. And there's so many ways to do that, isn't there?
Drive Safe, there really is. And there's a lot of commitment places, pledging companies out there that we need to get behind as well as BCB Live. Listen to me. If you're out there and you're a company, you're an NDD.org, and that means distracteddriving.org. If you're out there, we want to hear from you. We're going to call you in because we're going to get behind one or two of these organizations, Drive Safe Dave, to help protect those on the highway, right? From folks being the folks that are distracted. Let's face it, there are 3 accidents a minute caused by distracted driving.
Yeah, I know. And I think one of the greatest things I saw on the distracted driving pledges is that it's not only when you're driving, it's even when you're a passenger. It's when you're there. Make the pledge for always. So if you're there and you're the passenger, find a way to make it less distracting for the driver.
And drive safe. What if I told you there are ways out there to help us with these commitments? It's like you waking up and there's a bodybuilder, somebody said, come on, let's go work out. What if that was there today? Would you take it?
I probably would.
And I'm saying there's companies out there, and that's who we have today. It's No Cell, it's Mike. And Mike, we're just going to call you Mike today. If we get you back on the show again. Oh, Corey. Sorry.
Corey.
Why am I saying Mike? Corey.
I know, because
that last name got me all that last name's got me jacked up, I guess. I went with an easy name. Hey, Corey, good morning to you, sir. How you doing?
Good morning. I've been called worse, Rick, so don't worry about it.
I was thinking Mike all day. I think I really was stuck on that last name. Hey, tell us, how do you say that last name?
It's Wanarovich.
Wow.
Wanarovich.
Wanarovich.
Of course. I could have told you that.
Very simple.
Great stuff.
Hey, Mike, tell us a little bit about your company and what it is that you help this trucking industry do.
So we have the industry-leading anti-distracted driving technology, and what it is it's a solution that allows commercial fleets to supervise the phone for the driver and physically remove any of the apps from the phone that the fleet manager or risk manager does not want their driver to have access to while they're driving, while the vehicle's in motion.
Hey, Corey, hold on. Let me get Corey, it sounds a lot Big Brother-ish, so talk to me. I know you've got to get that question to you.
Oh, absolutely. So, companies have cell phone policies, right? So we give the company the opportunity to enforce their cell phone policy, because any policy that's not being enforced is a liability instead of an asset. The companies the ability to say, hey, look, the FMCSA says it's a hands-free policy, one touch, and so we're giving them the ability to enforce this policy by taking the number one distraction out of the cab, and by enforcing that policy by removing the apps that you don't want your driver on TikTok making videos while they're driving. As much as we love BCB Live, we don't want your drivers watching BCB Live when they're on the 69, right? I mean, you got to make sure that you can take that number one distraction out of the vehicle while they're driving. So we want every single driver to get to their destination and home safe every single night, without the distraction of the phone that gets in so many people in trouble.
Hey, so tell me this. So how is that working? I mean, how are you, when the drivers are driving, I'm assuming it's speed related, right? If they're driving over X amount miles per hour, it then erases the apps or the ability to use those apps? How does that work?
So the app goes into policy when the driver achieves the speed that the fleet manager deems necessary. So at 4 miles an hour, the phone goes into policy and physically removes the apps. Maybe the fleet manager, this is great, you can whitelist whatever app. So maybe the fleet manager says, you can use Google Maps, but I don't want you using Netflix and Facebook and all these other apps at the time that you're moving. So as soon as the vehicle gets going forward, then the phone, just like that, the apps are physically removed from the phone so the driver cannot access those apps whatsoever. If the driver picks up the phone, we don't want any DOT violations. We don't want that $11,000 fine or whatever it is now. We want to make sure that the drivers focus on the road and getting that next load to the next spot, instead of worrying about post or any of the buzzes, beeps, or dings that comes with having the phone on full blast the entire time.
I have a great question for you. That the way the drivers that you've put in these fleets that you've gone to, and the success that you had, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the actual people that actually use the device? The drivers that are getting restricted while they use the device. What kind of feedback are you getting?
So initially it's like, hey, big brother, you're not gonna supervise my phone. I want access to my phone. But then after about 10 days, they're like, hey, this is a lot less stressful. I don't have to worry about, what was that buzz? What was that ding? What was that notification, right? So the drivers that we talk to actually say it's a lot less stressful, and that they can see all the other drivers on their phones on the road, and they're all over the place. So
I'm absolutely sure. You can
we
actually
have very
see.
positive response.
Yeah, actually, you can see everybody else breaking the law. Once you start doing the law, you can
That's
see
it.
everybody else breaking the law. That's great. So you go into not only you do this individually and for fleets, right? You do it for both. You do it for personal and for fleets.
We only do it for fleets. We have another portion of the business that's working through some insurance carriers that'll bring it to all the moms and dads out there.
Nice.
So we focus on the commercial vehicles.
Well, my daughter, she doesn't know it yet, but that Jeep she drives is getting ready to be a commercial vehicle because we're going to
There you
plug
go.
that in on her. Hey, Corey, question for you. Is there a notification that goes out to somebody else that says, hey, I am driving right now, because they don't have that ability? Obviously, that app's gone. Somebody texts them. Does a notification go back to them saying, hey, the driver is on no cell right now, cannot reply back?
That is not yet released, but yeah, that's in the works. If they have that already on their phone, then you whitelist that capability, and then it can automatically text back saying, "Hey, I'm on no cell right now, can't drive."
Awesome. I like that. Hey, I
Great
do want
question.
one thing. Hey, Dylan, can you put up the mission statement? And Corey, I want you to speak to the company's mission statement as we put it up there right now. Can you see that?
Yep. Well, I mean, this is what we do, right? We do get up early every morning because right now in California it's 5:17 a.m. So we're getting up, we're preaching the gospel according to No Cell. Our company founder is passionate about making sure that's we're tired of getting these stories every single day. Driver, looks at his phone one time, 3 seconds, blows a red light and T-bones a minivan, or driver, 20-year record of perfect service and gets distracted by his phone and misses an off ramp. And I mean, there's just horrific stories every day. So we are trying to put an end to distracted driving and put an end to these preventable crashes that occur every single day on the highways.
What positive results are you getting in by numbers? I would really like to know what kind of numbers are you getting back from the fleets that are using this in comparison what they were before you started using it.
So we're in the middle of a case study currently, and what we're finding out, just the primary numbers are that phone handling goes down by 79% after the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
And we can check that because we have an alert system that as soon as a driver picks up a cell phone, then the fleet manager gets an alert and it drops a pin on the map. So that's the initial numbers. We don't have the full set of year-over-year numbers yet, but that'll be released after the first of the year so that we can get some actual case study numbers. It's tough to measure crashes that don't happen because the driver's not on the phone. So it's tough to measure what would have, a crash that would have happened that didn't happen. But what we're seeing is that the companies that we're engaged with have far less crashes once they put this technology. And it goes along with all the other technologies, right? You've got your inward-outward facing cameras, your telematics, you've got all the other safety features. This is the final piece of the puzzle, right? This is proactive. Right? The cameras can see you pick up the phone. This is proactive. This takes away the distraction of the phone. The driver doesn't have to touch the phone because there's nothing on the phone that they can use at that point in time other than whatever the fleet manager deems necessary for them to get their job done.
Yeah, hey, listen, if you're a driver out there, if you're listening to this show right now, you have a question, hey, go ahead and type that out to Dylan and the producer. He'll answer that question. He'll get that question asked so we can get an answer from Corey on that. Hey, Corey, that technology, I just want you to know, it really does. It's absolutely phenomenal. Are you working with one of these organizations as well that kind of ties you to them? These don't use distracted driving. Those organizations. Are you part of anybody?
We're teaming up with the NSC, the National Security Council. In fact, we've got a meeting with them in October to be on their team to make sure the Just Drive and Arrive Alive, all the different campaigns that are going on right now. But the National Security Council, Safety Council, is number one that we're working with.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's one of the things that we want to do as well. We want to help bring somebody in for BCB Live to kind of help get behind this case, right? Because Drive Safe, we talk about it on this show all the time. For that spacing, that the situational awareness. There's no time to be distracted out there on the highway with these trucks. So great job. We love that information. Producer, you got somebody?
Yeah, so we actually had a driver who was wondering, so say that you have, somebody that you are like a family member, right? They were asking if we have a family member in the hospital and there's an emergency, would that still go through if we get called, or is that something that just stays blocked by the app here?
No, it's a very flexible app. So if you don't block the phone, the drivers can still, like the FMCSA, right? They can still receive phone calls via Bluetooth or their headset, either steering wheel controls or the headset. So they don't. If you don't want your drivers to not be able to receive calls, then they can still receive calls. It's completely up to the fleet manager, whatever your policy is. We don't make any policies for the companies. We allow the companies to enforce the policies that they already have in place. So if their policy is, yeah, you can receive calls, then you can still receive that phone call. So they don't miss anything. Also, there's always an emergency button on the splash screen. If you're on an Android device and you need to make an emergency phone call, 911 or wherever you're at, there's always an emergency button available to the driver at all times.
Yeah, so some music ones. We all listen to Pandora. The mapping, you say, those are all available if we lift. What we're trying to take away is the ability to swipe right? I mean, we don't need you swiping right while you're driving down the highway.
Or running Netflix or watching YouTube, right? We're taking some of the things going on while you're behind the wheel running down the road that really takes those moments of focus and are really dangerous. Not that call that you can get in that hands-free device, but really that texting. You shouldn't be texting, right? You shouldn't actually ever be texting.
Never.
And to me, that's the argument, right? If you're out there right now, you're complaining about Big Brother. They don't need it. But if you're not using it, what difference does it make anyway? That's the way I look at it. If you're not playing the video games, you're not playing the poker games while you're driving, well, what difference does it make? All it's really doing is helping you make that commitment, that pledge that you signed that says, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to use my phone for anything else. Drive Safety, that's what it's doing. It's what we were talking about. It's that help that says, you know what, I'm going to help you not break your promise, that pledge you made to not drive, distracted.
Hey, Corey,
that's exactly it.
I look at it like this in a great way. We don't put our seatbelts on because we want to be in an accident. We put them on as a preventive measure. So in case something bad happens, and I look at this as also as a preventive measure. This is to help keep us from getting into an accident. It's not there to hinder us or keep us from getting up or doing anything, but it is there to help us make better decisions, right? It's just a little bit better way to make great decisions while you're out there and not being distracted.
Yeah, I mean, on average, people check their phone 88 times an hour, right? I mean, that's at the bare minimum. So what we're doing is we're protecting the driver from themselves, basically, their habits that they've formed, or any driver, any commercial driver that has, the phone is addictive, right? You hear that buzz, ding, or beep, man. You want to see who sent what or who liked what or whatever. So you want to make sure that we're protecting the driver from themselves and from this addiction of the cell phone.
Hey, Corey, we have one more question, and then we have about 2 minutes in total. Hey, producer, who do we have?
So we actually had a typed out question here. So have you guys had issues with drivers finding a way around the whitelist system, and has that been a problem in the past?
I love that question. So it's bulletproof, right? So if a driver adds an app after the phone's already been put in the system, the app goes into the default off setting, and the fleet manager would have to whitelist that app. Wow. So there's no way to get around it as far as getting to an app. If the driver turns off Bluetooth to try and get away from it, or if they kill the app, the fleet admin gets an alert and then the app is turned back on again by the phone, and the Bluetooth is turned on by the phone again. So it's pretty bulletproof, although we know that it's a cat and mouse game, so we have to continue to develop and make sure that the system up to date.
Yes, we can find, and we do know that,
Jailbreak the phone. Jailbreak the phone.
Hey, but we love what you're doing. Hey, you got about a minute, Corey. Is there anything you want to leave us with before we have to end the conversation here?
Our truck drivers and the commercial vehicles are the lifeblood of the United States, of the world, basically. And we want to make sure that those guys, they're getting hunted by the lawyers. We want to make sure they're off those cell phones so they don't get those DOT violations. We want to make sure they get home safe every single night to their families, so we can get rid of all these stories of the horrific crashes that are completely preventable by removing the distraction of the cell phone from the cab.
Hey, Corey, we want to thank you so much for being part of BCB Live. We love your commitment to safety and Drive Safe Dave. We know that we are searching for folks like No Cell, right? Companies that are out there to help protect this industry, help protect our drivers, and help protect the highway systems and get our families back home where they need to be.
Yeah, we appreciate
Absolutely.
we appreciate the endeavor. We appreciate the business, and you know what? We hope that it grows, and we hope that spreads across the country. Not only your technology, but all kind of technology that helps to keep everybody safe.
All right. Hey, Corey,
Absolutely.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much, and stay safe out there, all right?
Thanks, you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, and have a great, safe day.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
you.
much, man. Great stuff, Drive Safe Dave. Technology, again, it really does. It amazes me. That technology to be able to help us be more successful, to help us be a little bit safer on the road. I love that stuff, Drive Safe Dave, and I get it. If I'm a driver, if I'm out there, I don't want it, Drive Safe Dave, because I don't use it anyway. And again, my answer is, well, if you don't use it, why not take that temptation away?
Yeah, look, this technology that you speak of, has both good and bad, right? There's enough distractions on the phone, and there's enough that you can find to do on the phone and get kind of hooked on something, on that new game that you got going on, or that texting back and forth with family. You've got to get away from it, and this is a great tool. This is a great another tool in the toolbox to be safer, right?
No, I love it, man. It's no different than the technology in tractors today, right? There's so much technology that goes inside of a truck right now that helps you to stay alert, helps to keep you from going off the road, helps to keep you from running into the vehicle in front of you. It's technology.
Ding, 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 ding.
We love technology, especially when it helps us become a safer driver. Hey, Drive Safe Dave, we got to take a break. We will be right back. This is BCB, and what are we?
The safest station in the nation.
And welcome back to BCB Live. Hey, Mike.
I'm not.
What's
Corey.
wrong? I don't know why I was thinking Mike, but you know what, though, Drive Safe Dave? What I won't confuse are the amount of days of driving safe, and that is What?
Hey, we got them at 105 and 12. 105 and 12.
I'm so unsure of myself right now. I wasn't going to say it. You just told me 105. I don't know anybody now. We got Buckle Up Dale walking in the office getting ready for his segment now. So I don't know anybody's name. What's going on? Hey, Drive Safety.
You just confused him over there in the green room.
Bob was like, I thought I was Bob. Am I Dale today? What's going on?
Great stuff.
Hey, that was some phenomenal stuff. And as we talk about these streaks, right? That we know there's a lot of luck involved in trucking. We've seen it. Boy, we've evaded, and we've seen it on the show, some of these videos that we have that have been so daggum close to an accident,
Right.
and it makes you wonder, was there a distraction going on? Were you distracted? Were you on that phone? Were you this close to having a royal flush? You know, maybe it was. It's the first time ever. I'm going to get a royal flush, and then the traffic stops.
Yeah.
Because you're not focused.
You know, the commitment to safety doesn't end and begin with a device in the vehicle. It starts here in your heart, and it starts with your application out there on the road. And you've got to remember, and what we're talking about today is that you commit to safety and not be distracted, and put the phone down. You may not have the device in the truck, but you sure have this one in the truck. Throw it over there to the side, put it face down. Do not text. Do not use that whenever you're out there on the road driving. Make sure you stay focused.
Hey, drive safe, Dave. There's an alarm going off. I think you're falling off the side. Is that you or me?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I threw the phone down. I threw it down.
Anyway, we had an alarm going off here. It but look at that. Here it is. We're on live TV right now. The phone rings. It distracts me. It distracts you. Those phones are a pure distraction, and it's for real. It's a real distraction that takes your focus off what you're doing. And you know what? The fact that we're not looking at the camera, we got distracted, drive safe, nobody died.
Yeah.
When you get distracted on that highway,
the potential is everything.
Significant. A huge increase for that opportunity. Drive safe, Dave, where are we at in the goal days?
We are at 12 goal days.
All right, we're going to hit that for a second. 12 days. If you were listening to the show earlier today, we talked a little bit about that infrastructure, right? We talked about Katrina. We talked about what we did as a country to make, Hurricane Ida not as bad. It was a worse hurricane as Katrina. Why? Because we did our jobs. We went in there. We made the levees a little stronger. We did our job on the infrastructure. We talk about the highway system, and when are we going to go fix these? When it's too late? And I'm going to ask you on this goal, as we hit 12 days, we love that we're at 12. We want to be at 13. We need today to go on. We want that the accident-free day to go to 106, 110 to 350 to 500. And it's all up to you. It really is, a lot of this stuff. And on this goal, the last times we've had our streak 12 days ago, it was because we didn't get out and look. Before that, it was because we didn't get out and look. Before that, it was we didn't get out and look. And hey, guess what the one before that was? We didn't get out and look. And I'm just going to ask you, I'm going to plead with you, no different than this no-sell thing, is when do we start getting out and looking every time? Do we wait till we have another Katrina? Do we wait till that bridge collapses? Do we wait to get out and look until do we have to kill somebody first? Is that when it becomes pretty important? That's how serious that get out and look is. That's how serious that you've got to make yourself, you have to have that want. It requires action in the rain, snow, sun. It makes you get out and look. Why? Because dadgummit, you are protecting life when you get out of that truck. And if you don't feel that in your heart, I think you're undervaluing how important your job is, how important not being distracted is, how important your commitment to safety is. You've got to get out and look.
Yeah, you may have been doing this for 25 years, and you may have been doing it longer. But I'll tell you what, if you want the next generation to do it right, you have to teach them, and you have to lead by example. You have to be the one that actually gets out and does it so people can see you. Not only that, but in your heart you're doing the right thing, and you're doing it right for going forward. Getting out and looking is something that you're going to have to change that you've done, not in the past every single time, but it is something that you're going to have to do each day, every day going forward. And I'm telling you, it's a commitment to safety. It is a commitment. It is your commitment. It is your desire, your will. Look, I know you've been doing it 25 years, and you roll by the stop, you roll by that space, and you put yourself in position. I get it. I've been doing it a million times. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. In fact, it is everything in the world to get out and make sure you save a life. You're not going to you don't want to get in a boat without a life preserver. I mean, you don't want the Titanic to sink to realize that you need lifeboats on the ship, right? It took a natural disaster like that, a bad disaster, for us to make a change. We don't want a bad disaster to happen backing up. We don't want that to happen before we make a change. We're asking you to be proactive. We're asking you to do it now, to make a difference now by getting out of the truck, walking back there, and making sure that it's safe to proceed.
Yes, and today's phrase that pays, it's going to help you in your commitment to get out and look. Drive safe, Dave. What is that phrase that pays?
Don't drive careless. Practice situational awareness.
One more time.
Don't drive careless. Practice situational awareness.
We'll be back in 1 minute with
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is Buckle Up Bob with some weather. As you can see, Ida has really weakened a lot. And so, again, we have got all of our roads open. There's still some no-go zones right there from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. Again, the interstates are open, but the side roads are flooded. There's still debris. There's trees down. So again, it's one of those things where the hurricane protocol has to take place. Where is the customer open? Do they have a way for us in there? And are they staffed to take care of the driver? So again, it's still listed as a no-go, but there is some cases where people might be able to get into certain areas. They do have a lot of debris and cleanup yet. Still only made about 75,000 gained on power. I've heard and read that a big electrical tower it was blown into the Mississippi River by Ida. So a lot of the lines and stuff are right in the river. That's going to cause some issues for weeks, they said, as they either get this tower out or rebuild it, however they're going to do it. But some major problems. So it just kind of gives you no matter what pictures you see, when a hurricane is strong enough to blow a steel tower into a river, you know just how dangerous those winds were. You can see we've got 30 to 40 mile an hour potential gusts. So again, there's a zone up here in this area where you've got to be under 60 miles an hour if you're going to drive through there with the potential gusts. But it is passable. Everything is good to go green light there. But you just got to be safe and use that situational awareness as we talk about. Slow it down. You've got to slow your speed down. Watch the curves as well. You'll kind of see here on the weather radar, it just looks like a big thunderstorm now. You can kind of see the eye is right in around there at Huntsville, I guess. But you can see still pulling up some showers. We also have some showers up here in Nebraska and Iowa and in Missouri, up in the Kansas City, Kirksville, Missouri area. And then a few spotted ones out there in Pennsylvania, the Ohio Valley, and West Virginia as well. So again, getting more rain along that Gulf Coast. So as Ida moves up, it's going to the path is expected to kind of just start angling towards the northeast right now. So again, just now it's just not even a tropical depression anymore. It's just a regular storm system that has some 40 mile an hour wind gusts. Still the slight risk for tornadoes, so be mindful of that as you're driving through. Look at your local radar, whatever you got to do, the local stations, to make sure that there is no hazardous weather. Right now, it does not appear to be anything more than a thunderstorm, which is really good news because it weakened quickly as we were hoping for. Again, over 1 million people without power. So again, you don't know where you're going to get your gas, fuel, what's open, what's not. So drivers out there, you got to make sure when you go into these areas and you get the okay that you still have plenty of hours, fresh hours, and full fuel tanks so that you can get into the customers if they've got away and then back out to safety. Because there's still going to be some looting. There's not going to be a whole lot of safe places. You know, you stop and think, if the truck stops are without power, you're probably not going to be able to park there for any reason safely anyway, because there's not going to have lights. They're not going to have the food, the gas. So you want to make sure that you can get in there and still have plenty of hours and fuel to get at least a couple hundred miles back out of there. That's going to be your safety net, because there's still going to be some traffic issues. Again, as these secondary roads are blocked, everybody's going to be taking more interstates in a second, so it's still going to be a lot of traffic issues, so you can expect a little bit delays as well. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about all those potential situations as you get down here in the Baton Rouge to New Orleans area. Pretty much west of the Mississippi, they say, is pretty good. It's when you start getting east here, and here's the Mississippi. So when you start getting east of it, you still have a lot of huge power outages, and that's where the majority of it is in this little corner of Louisiana and then the southern part of Mississippi as well. So our wind gusts, as we go through the day, you can kind of see this afternoon. See, the area gets bigger, but the winds come down. It's just not quite as strong. Just a little pocket here of 40 to 45 mile an hour gusts in that western Carolina area. And then by tomorrow, you can kind of see it's just really like a normal day as we go. Same thing with the rain. You can kind of see where Ida is. This is what's left of her. You can still see a little circular, but not much as it pushes into southern West Virginia. As we said, starting to this afternoon, it's just going to start kind of going at a 45 degree roughly to the northeast. From right here at Huntsville, you can see it just goes in 24 hours. It will be heading that way. So again, not a whole lot left over. Now it's just cleanup and making sure that it's safe to send drivers in to the Louisiana area. The highways are open, but there's a lot of stop and go. Let's see, we got that, and I can show you real quick. So you see all the black dotted lines there. That is stop traffic. So again, most of it is going out. You know, you can see coming, this one is eastbound and northbound traffic is coming in and out of there in the Hammond area. So you can see all the trouble is still west of the Mississippi River. So everything back here looks open and doable there. So we shouldn't have any issues. No driver should have any issues there. And I think we had a lot of traffic accidents in Dallas area. So you can see a lot of stop traffic black in the Dallas area. And here coming out of Houston down in the Sugar Land area, some heavy traffic as well. So in that local area, Jackson, everything else looks really open. Birmingham, Atlanta even looks pretty good. A little bit of congestion up there in the north of Atlanta. So we got some good news. And again, it looks like cleanup is going to be able to start. And we should be able to get back to business or close to normal here in the next probably 12 to 24 hours. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with some videos and safety.
Welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Buckle up, Bob. A great job on the weather there. Did you take a look at, or did you catch the interview with No Cell on the distracted driving?
No, I didn't get to. I couldn't log in for some reason this morning, so I was honestly, I went
we'll
out.
Put that on the producer. You know what?
I honestly couldn't. I went out to the DMs. I said, "Are you all in?" And they go, "Yep." I said, "For some reason, it just froze."
The safety guy couldn't get on the safety call.
Go figure, right? Go figure. Now, I guess we'll go into the next subject. Hey, buckle up. What's going on with your report today, sir?
Hey, this week we're going about the BCBs of safety, and these are so critical, and you see them every day in the videos. I mean, every every one of these we talk about daily, weekly, and we'll continue. I mean, I don't think you could ever let up on these subjects. And the second one is your increased space. You know, one of the things, and we're going to see some of that in our videos today as well. Rear end accidents are the most common accidents, and they're usually the most costly because you have the injury that, and it's long term. You may not have a fatality, but usually somebody has a back or a neck injury, and these last for years. And so, you know, the sad thing is, you know, some insurance companies say you're almost better to actually take a life than you are to injure from a cost standpoint, not from a actual moral standpoint. But it's just that's how bad it is. And so, increased space, you've got to do that, and we do that by, as we did yesterday, slowing your speed. You know, and so if you know this, and you know that these are the most costly, then why would you not increase your space and make your slower lane changes? We saw a couple slow lane changes yesterday. We're going to see some really good videos today where we backed off, and then you're going to see some things that happen way out in front of us that are just, they're really horrifying if you think about had the driver not backed off, how serious it could have been. So we're going to get to see some of those, but you got to increase the space. I mean, these first two BCBs of safety are just, they're probably the foundation, if you will, for protecting life at every instance. Because if you slow the speed, if you increase your space, then your risk of an accident goes, you know, way, way down by about 30 to 50% decreased opportunity. And if you decrease that 50%, that's 50% less chances of anybody losing their life.
Hey, Bob, question for you, buckle up. So what if there was a way to help us take away some of these distractions from driving, from the cell phone?
From the cell phone.
Is that a good thing?
That would be a great thing.
Great thing. If only there was a way, Drive Safe Dave, to take away some of these distractions. Boy, that could really reduce the cause of an accident. Have you ever heard of such technology?
No, Cell, I haven't.
No cell is the thing we talked about today, buckle up, Bob.
Yes.
And that no cell, and you'll have a chance to watch this later on, but no cell does, it takes away some of these apps that drivers get focused on, right? The messaging app, Netflix, these things that the YouTube, things that can take away the distractions, the gaming.
TikTok,
yeah. All of these things, it can, when they're driving, it takes them away and allows them to focus on the road to maintain their concentration on driving safe. And buckle up, Bob, I can't help but think of some of these videos we're going to see today. It's either distractions from the driver of the big truck or the driver of the vehicle, the four-wheeler.
Yes, absolutely correct. And you know, I hate to admit it, but I was guilty of that until we took over this. You know, until we started showing these videos and I started seeing it. You know,
never guilty.
One of the things that I love to talk about with drivers is we have a false sense of reality on time management and what actually elapsed. We see it in our videos. We think we're saving all this time or losing all this time, and we're really not. And the same thing happened to, has happened to me over in the past where, I look down at that phone for a minute or a second, what I think is a second or two. And the next thing I know, I'm almost going to hit somebody. And it's like what feels like 1 or 2 seconds is actually, statistics have showed that it turns into 5 or 6, which major things can happen right then.
And to me, it all boils down to just the attitude. When you feel like you're in a hurry, everything seems slower, right?
Yes.
When you have that mindset, oh, I got to get there, or I'm in a hurry, then everybody's in the way, and you're not going fast enough. And that's the problem in and of itself. If you believe that you're in a hurry, then you are going to feel like you need to be, and you're going to make excuses and you're going to make judgment calls that are not based on safety. So you can't do that, and you got to have that real mindset of, as a professional that most do out there, you got to have that mindset, you know what, I'm going to get there, and I'm going to get there safely.
Hardest thing in a conversation with a driver is to get them from what they consider a reason to justification, right? There is no reason to do it, but they'll justify it as a reason. And that's a hard, and here, that's not just with drivers, that's everyday life with other situations that we do our same thing, where we use this as a justification, because I'll say, why did you run the stop sign, right? They'll say, well, nobody was there, and I know this time, well, that's justification. That's not the reason you ran it. What was the reason? And when you can't get them there, then I switch, I said, well, then why didn't you stop? Then you get to the real reason of why they ran a stop sign. I've got a stick shift. I didn't want to shift gears again. It was clear, so I didn't want to go through that, right? And so now you get to the root cause of why you did something. So again, it's always hard, and it's a very thin line between justification and an actual reason.
How about some videos, Buckalo?
Yes, we've got some great ones, some scary ones too. Here's a great job of this driver owning the space, slows down, lets them over,
Textbook.
and creates the space.
Textbook.
Right? The
Everybody's
vision's gone.
driving away, right?
That's right. Vision's gone. And now you see that all the lanes are covered, so there's nowhere to go. Driver does just a phenomenal job here.
You know what? That's such a great video.
It is.
The driver gets in front of our lane, and instead of getting closer, we back off to increase our vision, to increase our distance. Great job to the driver of this truck. Boy, that's a top 10er right there. We're going top 10. Next one.
Here's one again. Managing the speed. Again, everybody's moving away from this driver. So there's just nothing that can go wrong. In the slow lane, right? Taking good time. I mean, it's just a phenomenal job. Again, love to see cars pulling away. You can't rear anybody if they're moving away from you.
You know, you look at the video, and great job by our driver doing the great thing. And what I look at so many things going on the highway that you've got to make sure that you're paying attention to. You've got you've got vehicles tailgating one another. You got trailer being pulled over on the right-hand side. You've got other vehicles coming up and they're tailgating one another. And you've got to make sure, and you've got control of your lane, plenty of open space. But anything can go wrong in a moment's notice, and that's one of the reasons why we're talking about distracted driving today. Anything can happen. We've got a great position ourselves here. But anything can happen. We've got to be ready for it.
And every one of these videos are 7 to 9 to 10 miles under the posted limit. Love it. It just shows that you can do it in a safe way. There's a safe and a safest way. Another great video. Situational awareness. It's raining. Looks pretty heavy at times, right? A lot of wet on the road. You see the spray. And trucks are moving away. Vehicles are moving away. This driver is not gaining on the driver up in front. In fact, it looks like the space is increasing. Because you see right here it is. How close? Again,
Definitely.
we're plenty far back. We're not tailgating, but this driver is going to increase the space there. It starts to increase more.
Phenomenal video.
Just great job in the weather. Again, situational awareness. You know, here's one where the speed is down, realizes the tailgate, and you see it starts to increase, right? And then this driver didn't know whether they wanted to pass, what they were going to do, and so start to gain again. And then we run out of the video. But again, if we could maybe learn a little bit, again, pretty good job here by this driver. Maybe back off a little more, just, hey, give you more space. Again, you see it's a construction zone. You see orange signs. You see the new road on the right of the barrier there. So, hey, just back off a little bit and make sure that if something happens in front of that trailer in front of you or to that trailer, you're able to stop. Remember, the speed limit is whatever you can do to stop, not change lanes.
Yeah, there's no out. The only out that you have in that moment is the space in front of you.
Watch this truck in the center lane. This is unbelievable.
Oh my God.
But look, this driver sitting back, right, just could react if anything would have happened, and they take out some trails. We can't get any kind of markings off of this truck. It was hard. I tried to zoom in. There's an emblem on the very back on the left side there, but I just couldn't quite zoom in. But it was just crazy. Almost took out the sign. Looked like it was a little bit of a downhill, so it could have tipped it over. I mean, just all kinds of things could have went wrong.
Yeah,
here.
so if you're watching this video, again, look at that vehicle in the center lane as it cuts over in front of the yellow Penske truck or whatever that is and runs all the way over to that exit. I don't know how there wasn't an accident here. What that truck, that driver needs to get off the road.
Yes.
That is some unsafe driving. Nothing safe about that. You have a sign, you have human life, and dadgummit, drive safe, Dave. When you come across this issue right here, if you're the truck in the middle lane, you realize you're going to miss your exit, what do?
Go to the next one.
Go to the next one.
Go to the next one. Go to the next one. You're not going to lose much. You're not going to. You know what?
You're not going to lose life.
You're not going to
right?
lose life. You're really not. You're not going to lose. You're not going to lose life. You're not going to lose much time. And by the way, it's going to be a whole lot less stressful. And it's going to be. You know what? We all miss our exits.
Gosh,
we all miss our exits. Every single one of us have missed an exit before. It is what it is. Just go up, turn around, and come back, and then get off the freeway at the right time and the right way. And a lot of the times, believe it or not, our GPSs will reroute us, and it'll get us there in the exact same amount of time.
Yes.
And it's not, you didn't lose anything at all. So, yeah, this is so dangerous. Exiting, you cross 2 double white lines, you cross 2 lanes, you go into the 3rd lane of traffic. You know what? That right there is just so scary.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk about damage to the equipment, okay? I don't, that's one thing. But you know what? All we did on this was take a chance on life, and life is more valuable than that equipment. You know what? You just can't do that. There is no place in America, there's no place on our highway system for those decisions. That's not a safe decision. That's what BCB Live is about right there, to make sure that we are showing you and you're learning from these videos that says, you know what, when I find myself in that situation, right, I'm getting ready to miss my exit, you just miss your exit. Just miss the dadgum exit, go to the next one.
Yeah, I look at this, and if you watch it really closely, the truck actually leaves the roadway.
Yes.
And you talk about the potential for a rollover. You talk about the potential for, there's so much going on here, and he cannot see his starboard side.
No.
He can't see what's coming up. He can't see anybody coming up to exit. Just imagine if somebody had been flying up on the right-hand side and he had taken them out that way. I mean, there's so much that can go on there. What a bad decision.
And you know what? This is just a great video to say every vehicle, four-wheelers and everything, should have forward-facing dash cams, because then, again, the goal is to make the industry safer and the highway safer and protect life. And that way somebody can get that was in there closer, maybe gets to identify marks, to where they can give that video to a company. And like you said, Sir Rick, that driver has no business driving a commercial motor vehicle to make decisions like that. And here, we talk a lot about how we can control traffic and the spray and stuff. Watch what happens to this four-wheeler. And again, what's scary here, this is why you want everybody pulling away. Look at where it happens. There's nowhere. This thing goes over, it's going down. And that's the thing I think everybody's got to realize. You can't pick where at that this is going to do it on where there's always an out. So again, got to slow down. The speed here was about 55 miles an hour. So this driver was doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 miles under the posted, and it still almost wasn't enough. And that's the thing I want to really get across. Hey, the speed limit isn't what's posted or what's to go under. It's to be able to avoid this. And again, man, what a close call.
Yeah, and you want to play a game while you're driving, play the what if game.
Yes.
What if, and I'm driving right now, what if that car loses control? What if it does something crazy and pulls out in front of me? And you make yourself ready, right? You get yourself ready, because what ifs, as we've seen, happen an awful lot.
Yes. And in my opinion, the person in the most dangerous situation right here of losing their life is probably this truck driver. Because if they have to make a maneuver because they didn't have that space, they're heavier and top heavy. They're going to go over that railing. This car might be able to stay inside the highway and be in an accident, but the truck driver really has the higher risk of loss of life here because of where this happened. There's nowhere to go, and it's going to tip over that railings. Man, scary, but great job about space. Again, part 2 is space. Again, but we got to learn. You look at it, you would think the speed is 48 and all the space.
All right, so there we have it. We talk about luck in trucking, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lucky one right here. Yeah. That, on all cases, should have been a rear-end accident right there. And it's not just us, and it doesn't make it right. When you see this driver here driving right now, everybody's too close. My God, can we see the rain? You can't see in front of you. This pickup truck to the left, too close to the big truck in front of him. But that doesn't give us the right, because, buckle up, Bob, we've talked about this, is that we, the truck drivers, control what's going on.
Yes. We
We can control the speed behind us by slowing down and making sure that we are able to stop safely. And stop safely doesn't mean we pull over to the right. That's not part of the plan.
No, that's just luck. You stop and think the video before. Had this happened on that overpass, there is no right to go over. There's an accident automatically. And so, again, it just stresses the point. We say all the time, whatever you think the speed reduction you need, add another 5 to 10, and you're probably closer to being what you needed. Again, Driver was doing about 8 to 10 miles under the posted limit. I believe it was 55 there in that stretch, doing 47. But again, it wasn't enough because they were not able to stop. Had some great space. Everything was there, but you just got to realize that, hey, it's raining. That requires what this driver did probably was great in perfect conditions. Probably had the right speed, the right space, but they weren't perfect conditions. There's rain. There's other situations you got to do it. That requires double your speed reduction almost in most cases on the rain, correct?
Yeah, you got a lot of situations here going on, but I'll tell you that what we don't typically as people take into account is our ability to react, our reaction time. You know, we could stop. If I looked at the truck in front of me and I go, you know what, I can stop in that distance. But that's not what happens. What happens is that red light comes on and then our brain goes, whoa, 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 it's time to stop. And then I reach over and hit the pedal. That time that it took away 100 feet. So you've got to make sure that you take into account some reaction time in there as well as also your stopping distance. What's required here in that moment is a little bit more distance, a little bit more space, so that not only can you stop, but you can react and stop. And we've got to take that into consideration, especially in those hard downpour rain moments when everything is a little bit more stressful in traffic, running on a highway, within the rain, a lot going on. You've just got to make sure that you want to be safe and back off.
Yes, correct. I mean, the real-time situation, there is a delay there. You know, I don't know if you watched the movie Sully, but they were going to convict him because they said he could have made it to another airport instead of ditching it. But then he said, now, wait a minute, take out the time. You knew what was going to happen. You knew when to do it. Take that out. Then I think it was like 2.4 seconds, and all the models said they crashed. They don't make it back. And that is really evident here. It's like you've got to realize that you've got to give yourself that extra time to make the decision. It takes you approximately 2 seconds before you even begin to slow down. That's because you process and actually step on the brake.
Right. You know, we feel like it's quick. And we feel like it, but even 1 second, how far we go in 1 second, Bob?
100 feet.
You know, and that's the difference in all the world. That 100 feet right there would make all the difference in the world if you'd given yourself a little bit more space and a little bit more room.
Hey,
Yes.
there's no time, there's no place for that cell phone of using that cell phone while you're driving. Imagine if we're on that cell phone, we're playing a game, we're texting. In that last video, bad things can happen. You know what? Hey, we want to say a special thank you to No Cell for being on the show today. Great information. Boy, we love anything we can do to make our industry, our highways safer, because we are the kings and the queens, drive safe, Dave, as you say, of these highways. Hey, great job today. Hey, appreciate you. Buckle up, Bob. We're going to close it with a quick prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day you've given us. We just ask for your hand in keeping that luck. And Lord, sometimes that luck is you giving us that luck. And we want to thank you for that. But also we ask you to give us that awareness to stay alert on the roads, stay alert on the highways, to set aside those temptations to use those cell phones. Lord, thank you for all that you do. We ask you to be with those folks that are experiencing the problems from the storms of Ida. We ask you to be with those folks in Afghanistan, to be with this world, to be with our leaders, to be with us at BCB Live, us as chairmen, as captains of our trucks, to give us that wisdom to run that truck the right way, to run our companies the right way, to run this country the right way. It's in your son's name we pray, and we thank you so much for all that you do. Amen. Y'all be safe. This is BCB Live, the safest state. Welcome to BCB Live. Lots of news going on today. We have stuff going on in Afghanistan, but let me tell you something. We're going to start with the storms in Louisiana right now. Hurricane Ida. Drive Safe Dave made landfall yesterday and pushed nearly 155 miles per hour on the wind.
Yeah, it is the largest storm. Hit that area right after Katrina. Actually hit 16 years to the day. Made landfall at the same time 16 years ago, pushing in many people suffering greatly going on right now. Having a lot of difficulty with power outages. I think right now it's reported just one death, but you know what? It could have been a lot more if we didn't have the evacuations that were in place.
Yeah, so one death is reported. Nearly a million, they're saying, without power right now. Drive Safe Dave, we're going to jump real fast into the weather. As we see it right now, just north of New Orleans is where the eye of this storm is at right now.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to move north. I think it's moving at 8 miles an hour right now. Going to cause problems, high winds, possible tornadoes, torrential rains, ton of rain dumping, and it's going to continue to move forward. And I think it's going to move into the Tennessee Valley as early as tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so we show that this afternoon getting into that northern Mississippi. When it gets into Tennessee, they had some bad flash floods just last week. Man, we our prayers go out to Tennessee as well anybody in the path. You're seeing the path right now as it goes through. You've got to be aware of the storm. You've got to be aware of the power of the rain that's going to happen in Drive Safe Dave. It's not only that, but it's the thunderstorms that also occur with the storm.
Yeah, you have these spin-up storms, these tornadoes. They can go just like that in a flash to spin out and create some great havoc. Look, the debris on the road, the debris flying through the air, these can create major problems for driving, major problems for anybody out there. I saw a weatherman posted the other day. He was standing in the wind, leaning into the wind at 90 miles an hour doing a report. And I'm thinking to myself, what if a debris hits that guy at 90 miles an hour? I mean, he's done. He's toasted.
And I saw yesterday as well on some of the weather stations, they had the folks out there with the helmets on. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. I saw one, but this one guy didn't have a helmet. He just had like a rain slick tied down, and at one point he fell all the way down to the ground and it pushed him while he was on his knees, slid him sideways. He was that much in the wind. I was like, if a trash lid hits you going.
Yeah, if you're going to stand in the storm, I know it's your job, but you know what? If you're going to wear the helmet, hey, go ahead and wear the face guard as well, because it will hurt if it hits you in the face, I promise you. Hey, drive safe. Let's look at that power outage. And what we see right now are the power outages across the United States. But when we click into Louisiana right here, that's Mississippi. Probably don't know how to get back now. But we click into you know what? Let's figure that out. Let's see if we can do that.
Well, in the meantime, we do have some videos here from actual Hurricane Ida if we do want to take a look at some of the landfall that was happening over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, that's just some massive winds, some massive storms coming in, just a lot of power. And producer, if you go back to the screen real fast here, I do want you to see this. The power outages right now, we show 1.3 million folks tracked, 855,000. So Drive Safe Dave, if you look at this area right here, nearly 1 million folks right now without power in Louisiana. These are the counties here. You can see the ones that are hit a little bit hard. 100% is this dark maroon right here.
Yeah.
That's saying 100% of the power is gone.
Yeah, and you know what? And this is difficult for all emergency services to deal with, everybody that's in this area. I really, really think they did a fantastic job of evacuation this time. I think they did a really good job. There are a few people that stuck it out, but those people that are stuck out, they got to bear down and be careful, because you got to be very mindful. Those generators are dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, they're just as bad. But for us, knowing what's going on in there in that region, we've got to be aware that there is no power to the pumps, no power to services, no power to anywhere around there, and all of our customers are not going to be running in that area. So we've just got to be mindful of that.
Yeah, so pay attention to this right here. Hey, before you go on a dispatch, if you're out there and you're driving, you're wondering whether you should go in Louisiana or not even to Baton Rouge. Check it out before you go.
Right.
Some of the areas weren't hit as hard as the others. Some of the customers may be open. However, you need to check to make sure they can still get there to unload the product. make sure if you're driving in these areas that you really are working with your dispatch to verify that customers are open, the roads are open as well. And listen, you've got to make sure you have plenty of fuel, water going into these places. We have to do our part to make sure. So make sure, go through your checklist, right? Make sure you have water, make sure you have food, make sure you have fuel before you go into the Louisiana. And drive safe, Dave. Some other things we have to think about. Think about this distressed transportation that we're in right now. Logistics right now, it's been distressed for a year. We throw a hurricane in on it, and some of the conversation around the transportation world is this right now. Will the large carriers be able to help out with the storm? Will the large carriers be able to help out with Ida? Many folks saying the answer is no. They will not be able to do what they've done in years past.
Yeah, help, running in with FEMA, supporting in supplies, logistics, and everything that's needed to support a devastated area. And this is going to be a broad deal going forward. We don't even have the big picture yet of the kind of destruction. We will find out today a little bit more as the sun comes up in the areas and in the regions. They'll be able to tell a little bit more about what's going on. But I'm telling you, there's so many people evacuated. We don't know the full damage yet and how long it's going to take to restore that damage.
Hey, but I'm going to go back into this right here. We talk about FEMA right now. We see the roofs getting blown off of some of these hospitals. It still was a major storm, a lot of damage. The question around FEMA and the large carriers is this right now. When most of these large carriers have gone in an increased rate, right? We've gone to our customers and said, hey, you know what? We have to have more money. We're going to give you more capacity. For the first time, and I can't think of forever, maybe, these large carriers right now are going to be bound. Do they leave their customers that they just gave a big rate increase to and go pull for FEMA? And that's what we're talking about right now. Those are some major questions coming up with FEMA. Will FEMA have the support that they've had in the past? Because these large trucking companies, the Landstars, the Swifts, these folks that support this, they're not going to jump away from their customers right now. Normally, the rates are much depressed, and it's easy when rates are depressed to leave your customers and go to that spot market when FEMA happens. It's not so this year. So some major decisions are going to happen, and I, to my heart, I feel that for the first time that the independent contractors out there are going to play a major role in getting the FEMA product taken care of. Drive safe, Dave. Challenges again come to trailers, though, because with FEMA come a lot of trailer usage, and there's just not a lot of trailers out there.
Yeah, normally you have, they go up and snatch all of the reefer capacity in the region, and I don't think there is any. I don't believe
no, that's the point. It's not there
it's
right
not there.
now.
There's
what are
there.
they going to grab, right?
Yeah. So they do have some generators. They do have some mobile, but they don't have the supply chain that they normally have. It's going to be really difficult to supply these guys and make it what they have. But I will tell you that out there, it's going to be it's going to be a definite challenge. But we have to know what the damage is, and I truly think that this may be one of those few times that because of the evacuations, we may not see that as much going on. And I think it was a straight line winds came in, but I haven't seen a lot of the huge damage like Katrina did. There was a couple of levees.
Katrina wasn't. This was different than Katrina. Katrina broke the levees. That's what that was.
That fell.
So it wasn't quite the same devastation. We didn't see the flooding that we saw. But let me tell you, the roofs are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, all over, there's there's debris everywhere. Oh, yeah. And with power outages come food failures. Everybody doesn't have generators. I saw some videos there, and there was maybe one generator running this morning when I was looking at it. So it is devastating. It is going to create issues. And again, the big question is, how is FEMA going to be able to handle this? Because once again, the big boys step in with depressed market, plenty of trailers, because we're not into the Christmas rush normally, but we are right now.
Already.
It's already there.
Peak
and
time.
I'm going to say, I don't know, and it's a big, big question, is don't downplay the storm, because this market that we're in is already super tight. Drive safe, Dave. It would be hard to support it right now with just additional trailers, right? Additional trucks going into that area, let alone the thousands that it's going to take, and where are they going to grab them from? It is truly a logistics nightmare that we're going to see, maybe not today, but in the next 2 weeks, because you're right. We got to come back in. We have to evaluate, and then we have to bring in the troops, right? We got to bring in the trucks, the trailer loads, the water as people start
lumber,
coming
the
back.
building materials. Those are already stressed markets as it is, and they're already high in dollar amounts. If anybody's been to Home Depot lately and bought a piece of plywood, $100 a sheet. I mean, and now we've got all these. When you need to redo roofs, what are you putting on first? What are you laying down first? And then, so there's so much going on. I have no idea how this is going to play out. You know, we've got a lot to learn in this market today.
Hey, we have other things going on in this world as well. Tomorrow's a pretty big day as the United States must pull out of Afghanistan tomorrow. Drive safe, Dave. Any thoughts on that?
Wow, I have large opinions about this, but I'll tell you, we have a deadline. A line's been drawn in the sand on both parties, and it was stated yesterday. I saw the Secretary of Defense on Meet the Press yesterday on Sunday, and I watched what he was saying. He did even mention that it doesn't matter what line was drawn in the sand. He said, we are going to get our troops out, and we're going to get our people out, and we're going to get every American out that we can, and we're going to find them, and we're going to get them out. So to me, that tells me, yes, we want to evacuate by tomorrow, but I don't know if it's going to be possible with what's going on. And if we do stay, or if we do, I don't know how they're going to retaliate. They're already taking pot shots at us by us backing up. So here we go. We're going to see what this is going to draw out. I feel the troops that are there and kind of got their back against the wall.
Yeah, and drive safe for a lot of folks that you know, people ask the question. You see them on Twitter, on Facebook, comments that are made like, how come they're not leaving? Why are they still there? And drive safe, Dave, the answer quite simply is they can't get to the airport, right?
That's correct. They can't. The Taliban's blocked roads. They're going house-to-house searches looking for Westerners. They're trying to find us. They're trying to do everything. We have people in hiding. We have a lot going on. But I'll tell you, you know, Kabul is not a small city, right? And the Taliban is a military force, but they're not huge in overwhelming numbers. But, you know, there's a lot going on here. And I think truly what's going to take place is we're going to have to go in and get them. We're actually going to have to go in and get them.
Well, and on top of the actual airport itself being blocked off, we're also seeing attacks as of yesterday and a couple days ago on the airport and people who are occupying the airport with Afghan militants actually firing rockets at the airport as the U.S. rushed to complete its evacuation just before, of course, Tuesday's deadline. So, of course, this is following an airstrike that was going against all of these rocket attacks that the U.S. was seeing on their side. So it's just a lot of back and forth. It's hard to get somewhere whenever the airport itself has turned into a war zone and really the center of all of the violence that's happening in the area right now.
You know, it really confusing to me, and I'm just going to tell you my opinion on this. You can't tell somebody, you can't warn them, don't do anything, and here we get a suicide bomber, then we get rocket attacks. They continue to do something, and yet we do very little about it. I understand the difficulty of being pinned in a small Alamo and surrounded and trying to get civilians out, and we're doing the best that we can. But I'm telling you, you cannot not do anything. You can't continue to shake your finger at somebody and then not really do something about it.
No, you're right. Hey, drive safe, Dave. We have some more news coming up, but before we're going to go to a commercial, and we'll be right back with BCB Live. We are that safest station in the nation. Hey, welcome back to BCB Live. Lots of conversation going over. Of course, the big news right now is Ida, and we're going to continue to stay on that. Hey, we want you to stay with us after 7:35 because that's when Buckle Up Bob will start the day, right? He's going to start the day with safety, with the roads and the weather, and we're going to go over in more detail what to really expect in the next 2 to 3 days. Drive safe, Dave. We continue to see a lot of news on COVID. A lot of young folks in the hospital with COVID. Mainly right now, what we believe is that youth part, right? The schools, Florida, Texas, leading the two states again in COVID right now, in COVID cases. They're saying that, man, we've got to mask up at school. I know we have some controversy. Give me something on that. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I can give you my opinion on it. You know what? I understand everybody's idea and principle, but, you know, we have to do what we can to protect our children in school. I want children to be safe in school, whatever it takes, right? I mean, can we not simply step forward and say, whatever it takes to keep a child safe? We're all about protecting life here. And when you talk about safety, look, nobody questions on whether to put a seatbelt on a child in a car, right? Nobody ever actually questions that anymore. I mean, it's just part of what we do. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing. You're putting a seatbelt on a child when you send them to school with a mask on.
A lot of controversy on that, Drive Safe, Dave. People have other, medical questions on that, different than a seatbelt. I see your analogy, but it's not exactly the same thing. It's medicine inside the body as opposed to a seatbelt. Not the same thing as putting a seatbelt on a roller coaster. You know what? It's always a good idea to do that as well. People aren't going to argue that, but that's a seatbelt. That's not medication. People they go against their rights, Drive Safe, Dave, and you're a rights guy, right? Can we do you have that choice? And you do right now to make that decision on your own. Hey, but here we're seeing what's going on in Baltimore, right? I think it's Maryland, was the Baltimore area, with the jails. Jails are incentivizing their folks right now to get their shots. Even in jail, they have that choice. And we're saying right now, you know what? We got 10 free Moroccan noodle soups for you, baby. Just come get your shot.
Creamy chicken, too. I mean, there's you get to choose the flavor of your ramen noodles, but you know what? There's something a little special about ramen noodles. Have you had? You
know what? There's nothing wrong with some ramen noodles. I'm going to tell you that.
Every truck driver in the
Moroccan flavor, baby. That's the brand to go with. 10 free packs is what they're giving out. They're doing all they can because that is a big seller, as you probably know, in the commissary inside the jail. Moroccan noodles is being the thing. And Drive Safe, there's signs up there. The flyers are going out there saying, soups for shots. Maybe that's the answers in the school system.
I think so, too. Not only that, I'm thinking maybe video games for shots. Anything that we can do. But we, I hope that we do what we can today. It doesn't matter if it's washing hands, if it's wearing a mask, if it's getting a vaccine, or if it's staying away from crowds of people, but doing everything that you can to better what it is you're doing to make it safer for somebody else. Even a little bit matters. Even a little bit matters today. And I want everybody that's out there, everybody that's driving, everybody that whatever you touch today, wear a glove. You know what? When you're grabbing the pump today, put your glove on. You normally all have gloves. Put your glove on before you pump fuel today. Everybody's grabbing that handle, and I doubt it's being cleaned every time somebody uses it. And certain things that you touch every day, just be careful today. Wash your hands when you go inside to the fuel stop. Make sure that you clean your hands and you wear your mask.
Yes, sir. And we want to make sure, again, I'm going to emphasize that when you go into stores, when you go into food places, when you go into fast food restaurants, when you go into the Loves, when you go into the TA, to the Petro, most of those places, if not all, have dispensers out there for you to use. Hand sanitizers, it doesn't cost you a dime. They don't charge you by the pump. Use them. Use them. And I know, Drive Safe, they smell like tequila, but don't Don't take a shot of it. Don't lick that thumb and get you a
those
salt.
things are
You know,
nasty.
don't do it. It will not work.
Yeah. Have you put something on your face before and inhaled that stuff? Yeah.
What?
Sanitizer.
Do you put Nair on your face?
What?
Are you putting Nair on your face?
Why would I put Nair on my face?
Instead of shaving, there's certain things you don't put on the face. Drive safe,
I
Dave.
don't know. I put
Hey,
a little-
producer, talk to me. Speaking of Nair, did you get what's different about it? Did you get a haircut, shave, no glasses? What is it? A little different look today.
I did shave. My beard was getting a little long. I figured I'd
He's cleaned
trim it
up.
up a little bit. You know what? If you guys like it, then that's what matters. I know everybody was side-eyeing me in the office, so I figured I'd clean up a little bit.
Who's the 13-year-old? Before you looked 14, now you're down to 13. You know, who's the 13-year-old running around here?
I don't know, but there's no parental guidance here. Nobody's showing me the ropes or anything. I definitely did not get a permission slip signed to be on this show today, so I don't know if that's okay or not.
Hey, Drive Safe Dave, we're going to take a commercial break, but before we do that, we have some videos here, and it's a big subject for us, right? As we talk to you about driving right now, most of the conversation has to do with distractions. Keeping those distractions away from you, and what we're going to do is show you some videos and Drive Safe Dave. Give me some commentary as they're going on. Are they distracted? Is there some situational awareness that they can learn from? What can we learn from these videos right here? All right, we have a little maze runner. He's doing pretty daggum good. Good job. Oh, son. Son. Crack kills, Drive Safe Dave. You saw that one. Crack does kill. Hey, you got to look out for the craziness. Oh, no. Running through the door. Come on, doggy. Come on, buddy. Who's your daddy? Oh, doggone it. Everybody has to look, Drive Safe Dave.
You got a little bit of paying attention to what's going on. You know what I saw? The big theme going on there? People in too big of a hurry and not watching what they're doing. Don't be in a hurry out there. Pay attention to your surroundings and be situationally aware. You know, you saw a lot of people running. But
let me tell you what else I saw on that as well. I saw the folks talking to somebody else and then turning around, right? That means you're checking out your cell phone. You're looking over there, and you come back, and the traffic is stopped. The door's in the way. There's even a butt crack in there that you ran into. Something's going on, and that's that distraction. You've got to stay focused on what you're doing. Drive Safe Dave, if you were walking in that door, we saw the young girl, and we were sorry, I know it hurt, but that door was open. If she saw that, she's not running into it intentionally, right?
Yep.
Not putting her face on the door. Now, it's not happening. Yes. It's when we are distracted. It's when we're distracted is when these things just appear out of nowhere. A door is all of a sudden in the way, a glass in the way, and that kid just nailed it.
Some of them are pretty funny, but I'll tell you, the situation is this. You've got to be careful. You got to know what's going on. And before you proceed, pay attention, right? Don't be distracted. Don't be mindful, and don't be in a genuine hurry. Pay genuine attention to what's going on out there. Do what you have to do. Watch what's happening, because you don't want to get butt crack in the face, right?
Can I tell you what's not funny? 104 days of driving accident-free. Nothing funny about that. That's pure intention. That's y'all just going out there and just cruising and saying, I'm going to be safe today. Today is my day, and I'm going to own safety.
Today is not only is it 104, but it is also it's 11, right? 11 days as well. So we have 11 days of Get Out Look and 104 days of doing what needs to be done. We have an opportunity today in the next 24 hours to do it just one better.
Hey,
we can do it better one today.
We can. And Drive Safe Dave, go with me on this, because I was thinking about our accident streaks this weekend. 104 days. We celebrated 100 days, and that's a big day. 104 drive. How many days are in a year?
365.
We're almost a third of the way there.
Absolutely.
And when you think about that, when you think about going a year without an accident, when you think about the luck that it does take, and it does take some luck, let's face it, right? But when you think about the skill it also takes, to go a third of the year almost accident-free, that's phenomenal. And we appreciate what you're doing out there. I can't wait till Thursday to tell you thank you. I got to tell you today, right now, thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you're doing out there. Staying focused, being aware of the situations, avoiding those cracks in the road,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
Avoiding those doors that open in front of you. You've got to stay focused forward ahead and drive safe, Dave. The other big streak, getting out and looking. Using the technology right here, we're going to cheat. Using this right here means that right now you just have to get out of the cab, walk to the back, and actually take a look. Take a gander. Get out and gander. Whatever it takes, just make sure you do it.
Yeah, there's no stopping right now. The opportunity that you have every time you back up, before you put that truck in reverse, before you back up today, get out and walk back there and take a look. Put your flashers on, blow your horn, let everybody know your intention. Every time, make it a routine, make it a habit, make it a great habit every time you want to be safe.
We'll be back in a minute and a half with more BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Hey, welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. We're broadcasting right here out of our beautiful studio in Mansfield, Texas. We're coming to you because we do care about safety. We want you to be the safest trucker out there, the safest dispatcher out there, the safest safety man out there. This is BCB Live, and our hearts are into safety. It's what we are. Hey, drive safe, Dave. Tomorrow, we have a very special guest coming on with us. The company is called No Cell, and it's going to be a company that we want you to I'm going to challenge drivers out there tomorrow. We all take the oath. We're all going to take a pledge at some point in our life, and maybe we've already done it I'm never going to use my phone. I'm not going to watch movies on my phone, sir, Rick. Not me. And now we're going to go over technologies out there to kind of help you out a little bit.
Yeah, kind of give you a little bit of the gloss over, make it a little bit easier to follow the rules, kind of like, the headlights automatically come on when windshield wipers start going, right? There's certain things that we're going to go out there and make a little bit better and a little bit easier, and I think No Cell offers some examples of that.
Drive safe, Dave. We can't get to that next thing. I know we have the phrase at pace coming up in about 3 minutes. So drive safe, Dave. You have 3 minutes right now to talk to us about the big wedding over the weekend. Congratulations, first and foremost.
Oh, yeah. It was a lot of fun. Great time, great celebration by family and all that came. We had a wonderful, wonderful turnout to the wedding. We got together, and my daughter and her fiance got married on Saturday, and they tied the knot. We had a great party afterwards, a great dinner, a great party. And they flew on a honeymoon. They went to the Dominican Republic immediately following the wedding. And I got a call from them yesterday evening. They were sitting on the beach with blue drinks in their hands on lounge chairs. And they FaceTimed me, and they were sitting there on the beach in the sun enjoying themselves.
Drive safe, Dave. It was a warm one out there. It was so warm.
Oh.
Some people were sweating from their eyeballs.
It was hot, but you know what? That is the risk you take when you do an outside wedding. You take
Drive
what you
safe.
get.
Was that sweat coming out of your eyes?
I
Were those
was-
tears? Was it tears of happiness or like freedom?
A little bit of tears. I will tell you, I did tear up a couple of times when they said their vows. It was pretty sweet and it was pretty nice. I am very happy. I'm very proud. I'm very proud of both of them and excited for their new journey.
I know we had a couple of little snags going on the same day, but that's just part of it, right?
Yeah.
That's just the very first day of many snags in every day of a marriage. Let me tell you something. It's not easy. Even Drive Safe, Dave, being married to me may not be the easiest thing, and it's hard for me to imagine it.
Figure.
Well, you know.
I'll tell you, there were two things that was fun. When my daughter and I were waiting in the back room because we're the last ones to come out. I said to her, hey, this is the time. I said, you got to make a decision right now. You want to cut out of here?
She's pot committed. At that point, you're pot committed. I'm just saying.
You want to make a run for it?
Do you know anybody that's ever walked out at that point?
I personally have never known anybody.
I've never known anybody either. I've watched a movie on it, but I'm telling you, at that point, you're pot committed. It's too late. You know what? There's people out there. Money has been spent.
Oh, my goodness.
Honeymoons have been, all of that right there. So I have a hard time thinking people walk out. I would love to get that. Hey, producer, there's a story for us right there. Find me a real wedding runner or whatever they're called. Somebody that's walked out last second and left their ex-spouse or their future spouse standing at the altar. Drive safe, Dave. It is phrase that pays time.
It is. And you ready? Don't drive careless. Practice situational awareness.
One more time, and then tell us what it means to you, Drive
Don't
safe.
drive careless. Practice situational awareness. I think they go hand in hand. I think when you're aware of what's going on around you, when you know what's happening, then you tend to drive a little bit better. And when you don't practice situational awareness, what tends to occur is that you drive a little bit careless because you don't care what's happening. We want you to care what's going on out there. We want you to make sure that you pay attention. And by doing so, you're going to be aware of the situation around you.
All right. We'll be back in a minute and a half with weather and traffic with Buckle Up Bob.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Buckle Up Bob, and it's time for some weather. here's Ida. As you can see, we'll zoom in on her a little bit. So you kind of see the eyes right in around here. But right here, this is what we really want to focus on. So even though the hurricane has come ashore, what you want to realize is the dangers aren't over. Everywhere in this area right now has the potential for over 50-mile wind gusts, which means we can't drive. 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, we cannot drive. All right, so you have to just let your DM know so they can let customer know. But we watch this. The other thing is on this whole northeastern edge is where the most likelihood of a tornado developing is going to be. So again, as this thing moves forward, as we push it in motion a little bit, you can see it's kind of going more north. So Jackson, you're in the danger zone here in the next couple of hours, if you will. And Mobile and western Alabama, chances of some strong wind gusts and tornadoes are very likely as the day goes by. But right now you can kind of see this is going to push up into the Memphis area before it starts to drift over back eastward. So again, we got to watch the tornadoes. We are not out of the danger yet. You heard the hurricane protocol, right? Which is got to make sure the customers are open. Not only are they open, do they have the staff to get drivers in and out? All right. So that's first thing. Second thing is you got to make sure you got to have full fuel and fresh hours. There's going to be detours. There's going to be power outages well into the end of the week as this wind tore down power lines. So again, we don't know where the fuel is, what's going to be open, what's not going to be open. So you have to. That's just some things that you can be prepared to have the fuel, have your plenty of hours. But again, this leading eastern edge, northeastern edge is where the tornadoes are more likely. It doesn't mean it can't develop anywhere else. It just means that's where they typically happen. And we are going to see, they're already being reported some 55 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So again, we got to watch that wind as we go through the day. We do not drive in 50-mile-an-hour winds. So there, you can kind of see Jackson, 59-mile-an-hour wind gusts, right? New Orleans still 50. There's some 62s there. So again, we don't drive in this area. Just because the hurricane is ashore now, it's still a tropical storm, but there's plenty of wind and rain and flooding. So again, stay on the main roads. Do not get off on the secondary highways unless you've tuned in or you've checked with safety, and we can look at whether or not them roads are open. So again, this is not over. It's going to be today, tomorrow, probably Wednesday before we really get a chance to kind of get back into this area. But we'll keep an eye on that. As you can see, western Louisiana should be good, Shreveport area and stuff, and up in Monroe. But down when we go into southern Louisiana, it's just not going to happen for a while yet. The other thing is just kind of look at some traffic. So you kind of see down here I-10. The black is basically, they're not moving. So you've got that. Everywhere else looks pretty green for the most part. As you can see, Houston's got some normal traffic. Dallas, a lot of issues this morning in the area. You can see a lot of stop and go traffic in the black. There was an accident right out here, 287 by Mansfield this morning on the northbound 287. So if you're going north on 287 coming up from Waxahachie, could be some issues there as you get closer to Mansfield. Atlanta, again, you got some traffic there. Northern Atlanta, some stop and go traffic as well, and then down here in the McDonough area. So, but the main thing that we're focusing on is down here in the New Orleans area. And so again, right now that Jackson, as we go to the back to the weather, you can kind of see this area here. We've got lots of wind and rain. The future rain forecast, there you go. So again, they're expecting some strong, heavy rain still with this system as it goes through, going through Hattiesburg's on the edge. But you can see this is going to drift more north, a little bit slightly to the west. So Greenville, Grenada, all that's going to be in the path this afternoon. And again, so Meridian, Hattiesburg, you're in the danger zone, Mobile, for some strong tornado development as it goes through the day. So that's our weather, and most of the fires are still raging. Again, remember our protocol. The hurricane protocol has got to be, you got to have full fuel, you got to have fresh hours, and make sure that you get with the customer. Make sure not that they're just open, but can people come in and service? You know, the customers say they're open, but they got a skeleton crew. So we got to make sure that drivers can get in and out. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back with some safety and videos.
All right, hey, welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Buckle up, Bob. Boy, just a lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of just turmoil going on down in Louisiana, and now making its way, as you said, into Mississippi.
Yeah, it was ironic that it was actually 16 years. They were going to celebrate Sunday, 16 years of Katrina, since Katrina, and so then they got hit with a even stronger hurricane. But again, probably not quite the damage as Katrina did because the levees did not break. They redid them over the last 10, 11 years, I guess, and strengthened them. And well, it appears they held pretty well this go around. So maybe that's a good sign. But the wind, 150-mile-an-hour wind. I don't even know what that would feel like. Do you dive safe?
Yeah,
You
fast.
do fast. Insightful information.
If you're driving,
That you can
down the
only
road-
get that here on BCB Live, by the way.
If you're driving and you stick your head out the window, it's twice as fast as that.
Oh man,
he's always insightful. Isn't
No,
he?
there's some great news here. And that's what you get here. And you know what?
Classic
You
stuff.
want to know what you get for free? This
That's
right
it.
here is what you get for free. Hey, buckle up, Bob. What do we got for safety going on today, though?
This week, we want to kind of get back and remind everything we do around here is the BCBs of safety, and it's about protecting lives. So kind of want to review as new drivers come on the show, off the show, whatever, as we get a bigger and wider audience. You know, and the first and foremost of the BCBs of safety is slow your speed down, right? Everything, and you're going to see it in the videos today, you've got to slow your speed down. You know, that situational awareness, the first thing that happens when you're aware of the surrounding stuff is that you slow your speed down. Even coming to work today, I actually saw two people run red lights, and unfortunately, one of them was a police officer that actually ran one right in front of me, and I was like, okay, wish I had that on camera. But yeah, so it can happen from anybody that you have to have slower speed. That is first and foremost at protecting life. We do have some videos that are some good, some bad, which is always things we can learn at. We don't run from anything. This first one, you know, just really a good one. We're plenty of space. The speed is good. Look at that. I mean, it's just a really nice job driving down the highway, protecting the lanes and the stuff around you. It's really a great job by this driver. You know, look at it. Plenty of space will make then when this driver makes this lane change. Again, nice, slow, steady, nothing quick about it. No sudden moves, just nice and gradual.
This is textbook, right? Great
Yeah.
job. Next
And then
one.
this one is not textbook. This is, again, we're tailgating, and we start to get the space, which is great, and then we do illegal, right? Got over, they got right back as soon as that car got over. But why are this driver not just slowing down and being prepared to stop? You wouldn't have had to stop here. You just had to slow down. That's all it is. Our first BCB of safety is slow your speed.
So let's do this real fast. Let's go back to that first video. I want you to take a look at what you do when you're passing somebody correctly, when you on the pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go right now. Plenty of space up here. We are making that decision early in the game to get in that left-hand lane. Blinkers on. We get in the left-hand lane. Drive Safe Dave, we make a nice friendly pass. And then we have the next video, which is exactly what you should never do. Drive Safe Dave, look at this.
So you're in the hammer lane, number one, wanting to pass. Notice your position to the other 18-wheeler and where it is. And when this truck car brakes, you never really lose position on the other 18-wheeler, which tells me you never slowed, right? You never slowed down. And if your position doesn't change, you're not making the correct maneuver here. And what it is back off. Give this congestion some space. Give this moment in time right here to clear itself, as they do out there on the big road. But this truck right here never loses position with that other 18-wheeler, which tells me it never once touched the brake.
That is correct. And then the other thing you look at, situational awareness, getting the big picture. Where are you going to go? There's 3 cars in your lane. There's 2 big rigs in the right lane. You just got to back off and be patient here and wait for things to thin out. You're going nowhere getting around this car.
Yeah, these decisions, listen, these are the decisions that you do have control of, right? So many times we talk about, things were out of my control. It was raining. The sun was in my eyes. When things are under your control or in your control, you have the ability to slow down. You have the ability to increase your space, to dadgummit have space in there. And Drive Safe Dave, I'm going to challenge you on what you said, because I think we actually gain on the truck. We actually gain on the truck. Look at this truck right here. It goes, and look, we fall a little behind, but we make the speed back up right here. Just textbook of what not to do.
Yeah, I don't know many difficult situations that you encounter on the road in which I ask you to speed up. Never do I say, hey, hit the accelerator in this dangerous situation because I want you to get going. Right? Most of the time when you encounter these moments, these times, it's all about backing off. It's all about creating that safe space that you can get the big picture and you can move forward safely.
Yeah, this driver right here, they need BCB Live.
That's right.
Yes. And here, again, you got the yellow line on your side, which means you can't pass. Intersection. And here comes a truck in the other lane. And you're passing between 2 yellow lines. It's
turn lane.
Turn lane.
Is this the same truck?
It is.
Wow. Gotcha. I mean, I can look at the bird thing right there and say, well, you know what? Probably not more than one truck has that same mark right there. Same truck doing the same thing. Let me tell you something. BCB Live is needed in this driver's heart. You can say you need Jesus, but you know what? This person is going to need Jesus, or somebody's going to need Jesus. Yeah. If they don't slow down or watch the way they drive. Just totally unsafe driving right here.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to make sure that you do what necessarily. You encounter these difficult times, these difficult situations.
Well, hold on, Dave. Maybe he had family in the storm. Maybe he had to get home. Maybe he didn't have, he or she, we don't know who it is. Maybe they just had to get home. They had things they had to take care of. They were running out of hours. Drive Safe, Dave.
Nothing is more important than protecting life. And if that's what you truly believe in, that's the way we do it here at BCB Live. Protecting life is utmost, foremost on the decision-making process. And if that is your decision-making process here, you do not move into the turn lane on an oncoming road and go around somebody. You slow down, allow them to speed up, and then you take your time. You would lose nothing here. All you lose, and what you have the opportunity to lose here is somebody's life.
Including your own. Man, it's horrible. And then here, again, we get back to great space and speed management. So again, here you go. We're coming up. Start to slow down. This driver slows down. Look at that. We started gaining, losing the space, and immediately backed off. Great job. Big picture, you're not going anywhere. Both lanes are covered. So you just be patient.
Well, video 1 and video 4, great videos on how to operate that commercial vehicle. The traffic stopping, they're getting in that left lane early in the game, traffic stopping. I don't think they gain at all. They continue to slow down, managing that speed and managing the space. Buckle up, Bob. Those are 2 items that you really do control.
Yes, that's a decision. It's a choice. We talk a lot about safety being a choice. And we get that they say sometimes not. But when you really watch a lot of the videos and you investigate the accidents, the percentage of things that are really out of your control is almost about 1%. you really have control close to 99% of situations. You know, like if somebody slammed on their brakes here and a driver was too close, they'd say, well, I couldn't. Yeah, you can by doing just what this driver's doing, backing off and giving that plenty of space so that you can stop.
Hey, before we go to the next video, so kindergarten teachers, they'll do this right here. They'll put a hula hoop around them and say, hey, kids, because you know how young kids are, hey, stay out of my bubble. That hula hoop is my bubble, and I question this too, and I guess my challenge to you out there on the highway is, what does your bubble look like? Is your bubble small? Is your bubble large? Because you've got to protect that space in that bubble. That means you don't allow that kid, you don't allow that truck into your bubble. That means you have to back off that speed, increase that space. You've got to maintain that drive safe.
Yeah, it's not about who's it right. It's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's about your opportunity to be safe and your opportunity to prevent an accident. You have the chance, you have the opportunity out there to do the right thing. And the right thing is to always back off, always give that space up. If that's what's foremost in your mind and foremost in your actions out there today, it's going to be easy. It's going to be done at a very safe. And remember, we're not talking distance. We're talking seconds, right? We're talking time, right? The distance between somebody and you needs to be measured in the time amount it takes to close. If you're doing 5 miles an hour, you don't have to be as far as you do when you're doing 60 miles an hour. So when you enter that, you just got to make sure that time, you've got enough space, right, Rick, to slow down, to come to a complete stop. We saw the roads, we saw them slowing down there, but we didn't get close.
Nope.
We didn't get close. We stayed safe, and you know what? We kept that big distance. We kept that safe distance, and that's the kind of stuff that matters.
Yeah, and what you're going to see, what I love about the BCBs of safety is every one of them are controllable. We started with speed. That is 100% your control, right? Our space. People can come into the space, but you have the control to immediately get that space back. But it starts with speed. But everything in the BCBs is a decision that you have 100% control over. And we showed it today starting with speed. And our last video, again, a choice. A choice. It's yellow. It's yellow. It's already yellow when the video starts. And we know that statistics show intersections are the most dangerous place on a roadway. But why? You know, you always got to say, what is the reason? And the reason's never good. You will never come up with a safe, justified reason to do this or the other two videos, 2 and 3. So again, intersections have to be approached, especially a T, you know, if not anything else, be prepared to stop. You've got to be prepared to stop at these intersections.
Remember, you should never enter into an intersection when it's yellow. You should never go in there. That's for the lane to be cleared. That's for the intersection to be clear of traffic.
Yeah. You
That is not, you go in there when a green moment.
And
You don't go in there on a yellow. Look, I understand sometimes when it's green and you're in the intersection, it changes yellow. I get that. Those things happen. But you know what? You've cleared the intersection during the yellow process. Never, right here, you basically entered the intersection on a red.
We're taking a chance. We're taking a chance on live. Producer, if you have any questions or anybody who wants to make a comment, hey, listen, a couple things. If you can make a comment, you can ask a question on the YouTube channel. You can raise your hand if you're following us on the GoToWebinar. There's a lot. You can send an email to bcblive@bcbtransport.com. Many ways to get questions brought up to us to do that. Before we do any of that, if there are any questions, we've got to, you know, we talk about those yellow lights. And those are scary. These intersections are truly scary. We do, though, drive safe day, buckle up, Bob. Once again, that ability, it's all in our control. It's a mindset from us behind the wheel that says, I'm going to break the law because the load that I have, the miles that I'm running, I'm paid by the hour. My life is more important than anybody else's, or my load or my paycheck is more important than somebody that's going to run a green light and hit me.
Right.
Somebody's going to run a green light. It's going to hit my trailer, possibly take their head off, right? It can happen. That's what happens when it goes on. And I'm saying my money, my paycheck is more important. That is the thought process when you, the ones that have the ability to not go or go, when you go and run that light.
You know, it's pretty important that we realize that when accidents do happen, and they're called accidents for a reason. That are not on purposes, right? They're not on purposes. They're accidents. because you didn't want the bad thing to happen. But if you don't do the necessary things to make sure that they don't happen, then you're setting yourself up for failure, right? Every single time. That accident, that moment in time that you wish you could take back, man, just think about what you could have done before then. And you don't want to ever say, man, I wish I did. I wish I could have. You want to say, you know what? I do it every time. I make it happen every single time, and I do it every time. And slowing down when you come into these intersections and knowing that they're going to change, don't do it. Slow down, back off, make the right decision, not only for yourself, but for everyone else out there, for every other family out there on the road, and for everybody else that you come into contact with today.
Producer, who you got on the phone?
Yeah, we got Richard Rowe here on the line. What do you got, sir?
Morning, Richard. How about you, Richard Rowe? Going once? All right. Well, Richard, hey, it's the thought that counts, Richard. And
I got my video off. Can you hear me now?
yes, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
hear you.
Sorry about that. In that last video, there's something I noticed I see a lot of drivers do that I really question a lot. You've got 2 left turn lanes.
Correct.
There. They'll get into the left lane, which cuts down their turn room, and oftentimes they're going to move into the right lane and cut off lanes. They should make that turn from the right lane, and then if they need to move back to the left lane, they're not invading someone else's lane. You see what I'm talking about? Now, see, if he's in the right lane, there might be a car on the inside of him, but he's crossing over how many lanes there to make that left turn?
Absolutely. That's a great point. And identify the proper turn lane for any truck is the outermost turn lane, because you need the outermost turn lane to have the best radius in order to make the proper turn. Good point. Makes it safe. You don't want anybody caught up underneath you when you're making that turn, especially that truck or that vehicle that's waiting there at the green light, because you're now in a red light intersection. But you know what? All it is just going a little bit too quick and not slowing down and keeping yourself safe and making the best decision possible.
31 miles
It's
an
that
hour. made that
situational
turn.
awareness.
Thank you.
Great job on that. We have one more question. Who do we have here, producer?
Yeah, we got 2 here. So Donna Kaysen, and then we got Gerald Koenig after that. What do you got for us, Donna?
Hey, good morning. That last video with the double turn lane, that's going to Purina in Oklahoma City. And there's plenty of room to be in that left-hand turn lane, because if you're in the right-hand turn lane, all that traffic will get into your left-hand lane. And then you're sitting out in that right-hand lane. It actually is a double turn lane to go off the highway there. And there's plenty of room, because, and of course, you know, traffic's not going to do the right thing by stopping behind the line. But I've been in both lanes making that turn, and then you have to cross over the white line to get into that outside turn lane, double turn lane, to go under the freeway to go to Purina. And you're stuck out there, and you're out traffic. And I understand that, Richard, what you're saying, because I'm always usually in that outer turn lane, but there's more than enough room if you're slow enough. You know, that's the thing. You got to have your speed. That light is not that long where you have to sit there and wait, to wait for there was no reason to be in that big of a hurry. But if you're in that big of a hurry and you're making that turn because you want to get through that light, you're going too fast. And you are going to cross over into that right, the next turn lane over to your right. But if you're going that slow enough, it puts you right in the turn lane that you need to be in. So I'm very, I know a lot of our drivers are very aware of that turn. But yes, I do agree with you, Richard. We should be in that outer lane, but there's more than enough room turning to be in the correct lane that you need to be into, because that outside lane goes into the right 2 lanes, and you do have to cross over that white line to get into the correct turn lane.
Appreciate that insight, Donna.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for that. And let's face it, that person making that left-hand turn, if there's plenty of room to make that turn, well, they should have been doing it from a stop anyway, the next light. You know, what they did running that yellow light, again, going to that part, that's what can't be done. We've got to eliminate that. We as a company, we as a driver out there, for any company, you've got to focus on those lights. You've got to focus on what you do control. Hey, Drive Safe Dave, you want to shut us down with a prayer?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, dear Heavenly Father, we gather before you today to ask for your grace in all things. We ask for this moment in time for us to make good decisions, for us to make great decisions and best decisions possible out there on the road. Help keep the drivers safe, help keep their mindset safe so that they go out there and do what needs to be done. Also, Father, we ask that you help protect those in the path of the hurricane. Keep them protected as well. Do what we can to benefit them out there today. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. We'll see you this afternoon on BCB Live. We are the safest station in the nation.
Good morning.
Hello. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Thankful Thursday. This is the Lowdown with Shelly Brown, and I'm Shelly.
Hi, I'm Christy.
And of course, we've got our wonderful producer over there,
Shalom.
Dylan. How you doing?
You know, I'm doing fairly well. Just kind of been working through all the stuff going on. Got a lot of things going on here in the studio at BCB Live, so stay tuned for some interesting things going on. It's going to be a fun time.
There has been so much back and forth in here.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot, yeah.
Which is good.
All good.
That's all good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So there is a lot going on everywhere, I think, in general. The thing that has kind of stuck out in my mind, and I know it's kind of like the word, and you don't want to say it, but COVID.
Still here.
It's still here. We're still dealing with it. But it kind of I started thinking about how the FDA has given its a final stamp of approval for the Pfizer vaccine, and how that kind of started, down the rabbit hole. You know how that goes.
Yes.
How that's going to affect so many companies. You're already hearing them come out with these mandates. I think, what was the article yesterday? Delta is considering doing a fine.
Yes.
Essentially, but
pretty much like adding $200 a month to your
$200 to their health benefit.
Yes, for anyone that doesn't get the vaccine,
That
because they're
does
saying
not have it.
that what did they say? It's costing them $40,000, I think, per person.